Let me just give a little housekeeping. Okay, just a little housekeeping. If you didn't get a program or a schedule for today, I left some here, so don't worry. You'll have a chance to get some on the way out. This is Studio B, just to give you an idea where things are. This is Studio B. To my right is Studio C, and to my left is Studio A. So you'll see A, B, and C in your program and the location. Across the hall is the bar, and that's where a lot of the professional women is as well. The bathrooms are right in front of the check-in desk, and we also have coat checks if you want to do a coat check for the day, okay? That's right by the check-in. Any questions anybody have? We'll be around. I'll be around to answer any questions, so help with the flow. I'm going to turn it over.
Yes, all right. That's too great of a panel, so we're just going to get right into this one. I'm Kelly Hoey. You've read the program. So rather than taking 15 minutes and reading out everybody's bios, look at the program and read their bios, because we're going to have an interesting conversation. And this is all about entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. So we've been chatting the most since we've been arrived here early, Shelly. So what's your definition of an entrepreneur?
Well, an entrepreneur is somebody that's doing what they want to do, what they love, what they're passionate about. You know, I work for Black Enterprise, I'm the VP Director of Digital, and I'm also the co-founder of Coco Fab, and I'm also an entrepreneur, you know, but I also work for a company. But the biggest thing that I love about Black Enterprise is that it allows me to be an entrepreneur, intrapreneur, you know, there as well. I can come up with ideas and innovate and be creative.
We got an entrepreneur on the panel. What's your definition of an entrepreneur? Because I'm going to say you're in the tech space, and from reading tech press, and depending on which tech startup ecosystem you're in, there seem to have a view of who's a real entrepreneur and who's not. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think, is this working?
I think it should be on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think an entrepreneur is someone that operates at the intersection of product, and that product could be tech or not tech, creativity and business. And it's at that intersection, I think if you do all three of those, you pretty much do everything, which is what an entrepreneur does, everything from product to sales and marketing to raising capital. So yeah, that's what I think an entrepreneur is.
And Google, acquires a lot of product with some entrepreneurs. With all of your interactions with them, what are your thoughts on who is and what is an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I think, so I've been at Google for about 9 years. My name is Heather. I think that it can be very limiting to just think of the word entrepreneur and you think, oh, well, that has to be someone who's, starting a business or starting something from the ground up. And certainly, having been at Google, it's something that we think about more of an entrepreneurial spirit. Like, what is that spirit that you need, that you bring to the table to bring ideas to life, whether that be furthering someone else's idea and helping to solve problems in that way, or coming up with your own ideas and partnering with the people that need to make that happen. So I think you can see it anywhere in all types of companies and all walks of life.
So let's get to the second part of what our conversation is about. An intrapreneur. I must go back to you, Heather, because you hit it with entrepreneurial spirit. What's in your mind? What's an intrapreneur?
Yeah, it's an interesting term. I think, you think of, many of you likely use Google products, and you think of, all of the products.
Are there other products? No,
yeah. You think of products that you likely use, maybe use Gmail, maybe use Maps, et cetera. These are all very exciting, products. There are a number of innovations within those products that, even though Google is a very large company at this point, people are still innovating and building upon those products and coming up with new ideas all of the time. And so it's harder to recognize perhaps from the outside, when you have an entrepreneurial spirit. But for me, internally, I happen to work in the ad space within Google. So my team supports all of the ad serving needs for our top publishers. So if you think of a website that you might go to, whether it be NBC Universal to learn about some of your favorite shows, or you might be going to ESPN.com right now to learn about March Madness. They use technology to power the ads on those sites, and that technology is called ad serving. That's the space that I work in, which is not always as exciting to people who want to hear about Google, but what's exciting to me is that the people on my team come up with new ideas all the time for how to do different types of ads and different ways to service our partners, and are constantly innovating within the space that you're in. So it's just having that understanding that you can really do anything, and when you're approached with a problem and or idea and an opportunity, not seeing obstacles in your way, but really finding ways to make it happen. And oftentimes that's actually more difficult at can be more difficult at an established company, because you have all of these rules and constraints that, and people say, that's not how we do things here, or this is the way things have always been done. So you have to break through other people's definition of that, which really takes a lot of persistence. That is, of course, also required for starting a business from the ground up.
I want to say, because if your team and the people who work with you aren't entrepreneurial, I mean, there's going to be some startup somewhere in the ad space who's going to eat your lunch and your bottom line. And so you have to be that way. How many employees does Plum Perfect have now?
Under 10.
And
So we're a very small company compared to Google.
For the time being.
For the time being.
For the time being. So when you're hiring, do you look for someone who's entrepreneurial?
Absolutely. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to find somebody that is a self-starter, somebody that can bring ideas to the table, but not only ideas. I don't need people to only strategize with me. I need people that can implement and execute. So, from our standpoint, being a really small company, everybody in the organization has a chance to make a huge impact, or has a chance to really pull us back a lot. So you have a responsibility to be entrepreneurial. You have a responsibility to create, you have a responsibility to implement, you have a responsibility to deliver. And we are, with the size that we are, Plum Perfect is really a reflection of our team and the strengths that we have. I'm an engineer, and what I do well is engineering and product. And I have people that kind of make me think the other side of my brain when it comes to marketing. Or sales, and those people have to be leaders, no matter how young they are, or how established they are in their industry. It's really a learning curve, and I say this all the time, our lifeline as a startup at the size that we are is our ability to learn quickly and to pivot, and you cannot do that without a team that's entrepreneurial.
Who were your first hires?
My first hires were engineers. Because
Is it stacking more side on that side of the brain?
Well, some will say that, but my first hires were engineers because we needed to build a product. But we quickly realized that in order to sell the product and in order to attract users, we needed to get people that were marketing and sales, but also understood. Today, when you're hiring a marketing expert, you're not hiring somebody that doesn't understand data, right? You need people that can go in, evaluate the data, see what's working, what's not working. So, they need to understand statistics. They need to be great copywriters. We're asking a lot of the people that we're hiring. So yes, it's a mixture.
I would say you need to be that Renaissance person.
You do.
I jokingly say if I was to